Unscripted.
I guess we can face the facts. Xbox fans are looking for a win in the biggest way possible. This is one of the things that I think they've been looking for since the launch of the console a couple months ago. And has it finally happened? It kind of in a way, but obviously in a way it hasn't happened yet. So this is one of those things where it's so funny to see the reactions, right? Because we went for months and months and maybe even over a year where people were saying that the Xbox Series X would have the best versions of every multi-platform game. And then when the PlayStation 5 launched and was actually performing better, particularly like in the frame rate aspect and stuff like that, people sort of went to this type of situation to, make all kinds of excuses for Microsoft about tools and, how it was going to get improved dev kits and stuff like that, as if the PlayStation 5 dev kit wouldn't also get enhanced and stuff like that. And even Digital Foundry said that, there's not going to be this huge thing that's going to improve it that much to where it's just going to leapfrog the PlayStation 5. So the interesting thing is the amount of people that are kind of jumping on this, right? So Hitman 3 was kind of looked at by Digital Foundry, and it looks like there is a resolution advantage over the the PlayStation 5. So Series X is native 4K and the PlayStation 5 is 1800p. But that's not the entire story. That's not the whole story, and we kind of want to get into it a bit. But again, I do think that it's kind of funny in this one instance where people are just like, "Oh, well, that's the thing. That's the thing. That's the one thing that that's happened. The tools must be in because this one game is gonna be is looking like it's better on the on the Xbox." But again, this is just one of those things where the lazy devs, that's another thing that we kept hearing, right? Like all the other games that came out where they had better performance on PlayStation 5, that was all just lazy developers. And now finally IO Interactive, they aren't lazy, and so they were able to take full advantage of the Xbox Series X and blah blah blah. So this is going to be a fun video. I wanted to get started, and I guess we should. What's up, everybody? Crapgamer here with Crapgamer Reviews, back with another video. Thank you so much for checking it out. Please like, share, subscribe. I would appreciate that. It helps out the channel, and it means a lot to me personally. If you're looking for a way to help out a little crappy channel like mine, the best way to do it, a simple like, and it's free to do, and it means a lot to me. So please consider doing that. Also hit the bell. Lately, like less than 1% of my videos actually goes out, and and actually goes out to the people that have subscribed. So shout out to all the old subscribers, new subscribers, and everybody in between. You guys are really great and amazing people. Thank you so much. Hopefully you guys are all doing great this day, and thank you guys very much. So yeah, this was something that I thought was interesting because the way that Xbox fanboys were coming at me, you would have thought honestly that Microsoft had just stealth launched a AAA exclusive for the first time in 503 days, which, by the way, that's the last time they actually did launch a exclusive AAA title. But anyway, this is very interesting because it looks like this. Hitman 3 delivers on next-gen systems by their commitment to 60 frames per second. In the previous Hitman titles on console, IO offered users a choice: the ability to play with a 30 cap, or alternatively to allow frame rate to run unlocked. On top of that, the enhanced consoles offered both quality and performance modes with various resolution. Hitman 3 dispenses with all of this, delivering a flat 60 FPS performance level on all systems, with no need to choose between quality and performance mode this time around. Last-gen systems are pegged at 30 FPS, with the curious exception of the PS4 Pro, which offers what IO describes as 1080-60 frame interpolated option. So they're going to go into specifics about this and exactly what happens. So Xbox Series X runs the game at native 4K, initially incidentally double frame rate and increase in pixel count over Xbox One X's 1440p. Just beneath this sits PlayStation 5 running at 800p. Meanwhile, Xbox Series S aims for the same 60 frames target, but this time the GPU is tasked with running the game at 1080p resolution. There's no dynamic resolution scaling from what they see, but there is a smart pass of anti-aliasing on all systems. So Very interesting stuff. Beyond that, the visual features set of Hitman 3 is broadly consistent across all 3 next-gen machines, with some minor changes. The developers were even helpful enough to give them the lowdown on how each system compares with the PC equivalent. There are a couple further changes. This starts with texture quality, where Xbox Series X and PlayStation 5 run with the equivalent of PC's highest settings, up against the memory-constrained Series S, which opts for high-quality textures instead. Meanwhile, there are additional tweaks to shadows quality too. Series S uses the equivalent to PC's low-quality shadows, is common with the last-gen base consoles, while PlayStation 5 runs at medium and Xbox Series X operates at high. The difference is fairly subtle across all 3, but it's there nonetheless in all 3 scenarios. Okay, across all next-gen consoles, the same in overall presentation as first class. Yes, the Series X resolution advantage is there, and the Glacier engine thrives on precision, giving it a pristine edge. With that said, the lower resolution of the PlayStation 5 is in no way a problem and looks wonderful. When it comes to the topic of performance, IO Interactive has done an incredible job delivering Agent 47's latest missions with pretty much 60 frames across the board. There are some instances of quite a bit of a drop in frame rate on the to about 41 frames per second, particularly the Xbox Series X, where the PlayStation 5 version seems like it is locked. And I think that this is something that they really did a fantastic job with. Again, like, it's sort of pick your poison. The main thing that about the fanboy aspect of this whole thing too, right? So you have a better performance overall, better frame rate on the PlayStation 5. And you had the Xbox fanboys talking about this yesterday, like nonstop. They were just blah, blah, blah about this, right? They just couldn't get enough talking about this nonsense. Now, the interesting part about this is, they're gonna play it on the PlayStation 5 regardless, right? Like, when people were coming at me with this stuff, right? Like, oh wow, let's make some more Tools jokes, CG, and I'm like, yeah, well, let's wait for the next game to come out, and when the next game comes out and the PlayStation 5 has better performance again, I mean, what's it going to be the excuses, right? So, for me personally, if you're an Xbox fanboy and you're bragging about this, you probably bought Call of Duty and Assassin's Creed and Watch Dogs on Xbox anyway, regardless of it having better performance on PlayStation. So it's honestly a moot point, if you understand what I'm saying. I'm just saying that fanboys are going to buy the game on whatever platform they prefer. So it doesn't really matter if it's going to perform better on PlayStation or Xbox, because they're going to buy it on Xbox if you're an Xbox fanboy. If you're a PlayStation fanboy, you're going to buy it on PlayStation. It's pretty much that simple. And there's literally no real difference here, except for one says native 4K, and then are we really going to get into a native 4K situation? Honestly, I think that would be a mistake for Xbox fanboys to do, because we know that the Xbox Series X isn't going to do native 4K on everything. I mean, is it capable of it? Sure. So was the Xbox One X, but that doesn't mean that we got native 4K all the time or anything. You know what I mean? In fact, a lot of the time we didn't. So, they kept it pretty close. So I think this is really one of those situations where we keep seeing people kind of talk about this stuff, and they want it to be last gen. Right, the Xbox fans are so salty over what happened last gen and the whole 720p stuff. Don't fight last year's war. I've said that a few times, and what I mean by that is, you can't look at the past and go, oh well, the 720p thing really stuck, and I hated that, and now we want to kind of pay them back for that with this, because it's not the same thing. It's really unfortunate. I do hope that that they keep on kind of going about and adjusting the tools and the dev kits on both of these things, and we both get great games from either one. But it's kind of nitpicking, and if you're nitpicking as an Xbox fanboy who's just pissed off because last gen you were stuck with a 720p machine or whatever, or 900p or 872 or whatever weird resolutions they used on Xbox, it ain't the same thing. It's the furthest thing from that, right? You're not seeing that huge difference. And I did think it was funny because Digital Foundry was quick to put that that Xbox has a 4K resolution advantage in the title, and that drags the Xbox fans from under the rocks. It's I get it. You know what? You guys have been taking L's nonstop. When is that? So you actually kind of, when you look at this kind of thing, and like for me personally, I just find it to be kind of ironic and funny at the same time. But for me personally, the resolution was never a thing. You can go back to even my Xbox fanboy days, and I mentioned that the resolution wasn't graphics, and it didn't really matter to me. I was buying stuff on Xbox. Like I said, I was an Xbox fan, and that's where I wanted to play my games. And I suspect most people are like the same way. Like, people aren't gonna, unless you have both and you're that much into it, and you're like, oh well, let me get it, again. And then why would you pick the one with the higher resolution instead of the one with the steadier frame rate? Like, that's the thing that I would kind of look into. But regardless, I will link this. You guys can let me know. Do you think that Xbox is finally on the right path, and or do you think we're gonna see more PlayStation games end up outperforming it in the long run? Either way, let me know. Thank you guys so much for watching. Have a great day. Rack 'em up. Crapgamer out.
Unscripted.